Hey y'all, I decided I'd go ahead and do a gear video. I've had a lot of people, a lot of friends and family mostly that ask me like what exactly I bring in my pack on the trail. This will probably be kind of a boring video if you're a backpacker or thru hiker and you probably already know all these things. But for people that aren't into backpacking, don't have much experience, um, I'm going to go through and just kind of show you everything that I'll be carrying on my back with me for 500 miles on the Colorado Trail. So as you can see, I've got all of my gear laid out here on the bed, and I'm just going to kind of go through each and everything that I'll be carrying. I'll start up here at the top. That is my pack. It's a Gossamer Gear Mariposa 60-liter pack. You can see the white thing in the middle there, it's kind of sticking out of the pack. That is a garbage disposal bag that I keep inside the pack as a pack liner to put everything. I put everything inside of that to keep it dry. I also have a couple of bandanas tied on. I'll have many uses for those. I use them as a buff to tie around my face when it gets dusty or windy. I use them to clean things. There's a lot of things I can do with those. Then here, this is what I sleep in. I don't use a sleeping bag. I use a quilt, sleeping quilt. This is the Catabatic quilt. I forget which model, but it is lighter than a sleeping bag and it keeps me really warm. I also paired with that, the green thing there is a sleeping bag liner. Not a quilt liner, it's a sleeping bag liner. So if it's really cold, I can get inside of that under the quilt to keep myself a little extra warm. And also it's good for on camping trips when I know it's not going to be cold at all, it's just going to be hot. I'll actually use this sleeping bag liner as a sleeping bag all by itself, just sleep inside of that. Then I have this thing here. It's a little microfiber rag. I use that when I wake up in the morning. I have that with me to wipe down condensation on the inside of my tent right above me, so that when I sit up, I don't have all that condensation falling off onto my bag. I can keep it dry ahead of time. This here is a blow-up pillow that I use to sleep on. All right, and that takes care of my bed out on trail. Over here, this is my tent. It's a Z-Pax duplex. Very light, if I remember right, it's like 19 ounces. And you'll see that once it's set up in videos on the trail itself. This is my sleeping pad. It's the Big Agnes Rapide SL. Actually, the first time I'll be using that on trail. I had a Nemo Tensor Air, and that got a hole in it on the Appalachian Trail, so I'll be using this for the first time. This is just the blow-up bag that you use to put air into this. I'm actually not going to be using that primarily to blow this up, but I will use this to scoop up water from creeks and stuff like that. This is a piece of Tyvek that I will put under my tent as a ground cloth to kind of protect the bottom of the tent. These are my tent stakes. They are MSR groundhogs, I believe they're called. And I keep them in this little mesh bag that came with some water shoes that I had bought, some body glove. I don't even still have the water shoes, but I've kept the little bag they came in because it works really good to use to keep my stakes in, and it's very lightweight. Also, you can see inside of there, I've got a little bottle cap from the top of a water bottle, and what I use this for is when I'm putting the stakes into the ground, I'll put this onto the head of the stake, and I'll use a rock to pound down on this bottle cap to drive the stake into the ground. That keeps from damaging the head of the stake itself. Here you have the trekking poles. I use MSR trekking poles. I've had really good success with them, like them a lot. And the reason they're next to my tent is because aside from using as trekking poles, I also use them as the tent poles for my tent itself. A little further down here, I have a very small copy of the Colorado Trail data book. I'll carry that in my pack. It just comes with, you know, information about all the different parts of the trail and resupply in town, things like that. It's got little maps in it. I'll use this like at night in my tent when I'm looking at where I'm going the next day to kind of help plan out that next day. This is my Zoleo satellite communicator. I have that on my pack. It's a satellite GPS device that it'll track where I am, and so that my wife at home can follow along with my progress. It also has a little SOS button up here so that if there's an emergency out on trail, I can push that SOS button and it'll send search and rescue to my location. Right here, got a little piece of paracord. It's about 10 feet long. I'll use this for many different things. I use it almost every day to dry clothes out. I'll just kind of tie it between two trees and hang clothes over it to dry things out when it needs to be. This is my hygiene and medication bag, first aid kit. I've got all my hygiene gear inside it. All my medicine is in there. You know, and I've also got like moleskin and insect repellent pads, and there's my toothbrush, and I have some iodine type tablets to help filter really bad water. This is some baby wipes, and I use this to take care of things after using the bathroom on trail, which yes, you do on the ground, in a hole, out in the middle of the forest. All right. Here is my Z-Packs fanny pack that I use for things that I just need quick access to throughout the day. And these are the things here that I keep inside of this fanny pack. I've got my sunglasses that come in this little case here. Carmex, my lips get really chapped when I'm up here because I'm used to humid climate in South Louisiana, and there is no humidity up in the mountains in Colorado. This is a bug net, that head net. You can see how small it is. It rolls up very small, but it'll go over my head. It's just a net that you know, keep mosquitoes, flies, that kind of stuff off your face. I won't use that very often, but it's so light that, you know, it makes sense to bring it anyway. This is my headlamp that I'll use inside the tent at night. And also if I end up doing any hiking after the sun's going down. I have a lighter in here, really just for emergencies. There's almost always a burn ban on the Colorado Trail in the summer, so we don't really do campfires at night, but I have a lighter just in case I would need it in an emergency situation. I have this very small version of the Swiss Army knife. Has a few tools on it, very lightweight. This is some baby sunscreen, actually. But I use it, it's 50 SPF, it's designed for kids. I use this for when I'm above tree line or in a very exposed section, because up high in the mountains, the sun does get really beating down on you. And I mostly use this on my nose, but I'll use this for my face. I have dark complected skin. I don't burn real easy, but above tree line and exposed sections, my nose will burn. This will be the first time I'm using this. This is a FlexTail air pump. You can see how small this is. I'll use this. It has two little adapters that I've put on the end of it here. This is 1 and 2, but they all just kind of clip on together. And I'm gonna use that to blow up my sleeping pad up there and also my pillow. So that's a good piece of gear. This is my acorn for my daughter. If you know me really well, you know how important this is to me. I think I also talked a little bit about this in an earlier video I made. So some of you will know already what this is. And if you don't, I'll talk about it later in another video. I'm not really gonna get into it right now, but this is a very important piece of gear that I always carry with me. This, you can see, is just a little empty Ziploc bag. This basically becomes my wallet on trail. I'll have my ID, debit card, credit cards in there, and also my insurance card just in case something would happen to me. But I use this like as a wallet, and I keep that inside my fanny pack also. Going over here, we have my rain gear. This is the top, and this is the top, the jacket, and this is the bottom. These are Frog Togs. Very lightweight, very cheap. You can get them at Walmart. And the Frog Togs, the bottom is even more lightweight because you can see here, I cut off the bottoms of the legs because all I do is step on them anyway when I walk. So I don't really need rain protection on my ankles and feet. This is kind of all the clothes that I pack along with me. This is a fleece jacket. This and this are my base layers, like, you know, kind of long johns type underwear. I have a beanie cap here that I use to sleep in, and when it gets cold, I've got a pair of gloves. This is my camp shirt. It's a 3rd Battalion, 23rd Marines t-shirt, and not everyone uses a camp shirt. I do. I like to be dry and comfortable when I get to camp at night, so I will take off my hiking shirt and put that on. This here, I bring an extra pair of underwear. I like to change underwear every day. You know, some of you gram weenies think I'm packing extra gear. I don't care. I like comfort over ultra lightness. I also bring an extra pair of socks and an extra pair of sock liners. I will change these things every day on trail. And this is just a stuff sack from an old sleeping bag that I use to put all of these clothes inside of. All right, so we're back up here at the top, coming down now. This is my water system. And I know some of you thru hikers, backpackers are thinking that's a hell of a lot of capacity. It is, but I tend to drink a lot more water than most people. So I have my 2 small water bottles. You can see I already have some electrolyte in one of them. I have my CNOC bag 3 liter and 2 liter. So I have a total of 7 liters capacity. I won't always have these full, obviously, but for segments where there's long dry stretches on trail, I will be carrying 7 liters of water, which comes out to around 15 pounds. So it does add some weight, but I've run out of water on trail before, and I'd rather carry the weight than run out of water. I have attached to this one my Sawyer water filter. I use this Sawyer water bag that I have cut one end off of, the bottom end. All right, you can see I still have the cap on there. I use this as a scoop. If the water level is really low in a creek, I can scoop up the water using this and pour it into my this is my dirty bag over here. I'll pour the water into there before I filter it. But the weight on these is almost nothing, and it works really well as a scoop when the water's low. I also have 2 coupling clamps that I can set up. This is to help me set up my gravity system to filter water. And always bring an extra O-ring for your Sawyer water filter because you never know when you're gonna need it. And I use this little bag that comes with it just to put the loose stuff inside of. All right, down here is my kitchen. I have a jet boil that I use to boil water. and my little homemade koozie here, cozy, whatever you want to call it, to put the food inside of while it is right after I boil the water, to get it ready to eat. And then I have my Ursack here. I have 4 days worth of food inside of it right now for the beginning part of the trail. No further down is my electronics kit. I have just an old Z-Packs bear hanging bag that I use to put my electronics in. It's waterproof, so I feel good about that. I have a Nitecore 20,000 milliamp battery charger, and I also have a small 4600 milliamp charger for smaller pieces of gear to charge those up, which includes my hearing aids. I'll use that to charge my hearing aids, but also the headlamp and the little filter to blow up the air pump. I use this mainly for my phone and this for just about everything else. Inside here, I have little charging cables. This is actually the stuff sack that came with my pillow. I don't use the stuff sack for my pillow. I just put the little cables inside of here. Then I have an extra little cable adapter, USB-C to C. Have a charging block to plug everything into when I'm off trail to charge the power bank up and stuff like that. And then I have my earbuds here. And I think we've about covered all of the gear. All right, so now you know what I carry on trail, and I'm just a couple of days away from starting my through hike. Getting excited about it, and I will see y'all out there.